Welcome to the Unlock Your Greatness podcast. I'm your host, Ramon Martin. Today's guest is an entrepreneur. He is the founder of one of the top credit repair companies, up and coming. He is the jack of all trades. He consults with businesses, small and large. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Issac Del Zoppo. How are you doing today, Isaac? Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you. Yeah, so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm doing fantastic, and it's just great to be here. Thank you again.
Oh yes, pleasure is all mine. Yeah. So yeah, speaking of like just credit repair. Remember when we met a couple of years ago, and you were just getting started with your company. But just tell me what inspired you to get into this line of work.
So it's a great story. My one of my closest, if not my best friend, I'd say my best friend, uh, he and I had always been doing entrepreneurial type stuff together since we were teenagers, and we were pretty much like the only ones in our hometown who did that. And he did it to the absolute max. I more learned from him. And he was, one of those people where I remember I this must have been 12 years ago. He was already starting to do network marketing, which at that time I didn't know anybody else who was doing that. So I learned a lot from him. And eventually down the road, he had ended up starting his own credit repair company before I knew anybody that had been doing credit repair. And we reconnected. Actually, I reached out to him because I was doing solar at the time, and I hadn't we had not talked to each other in like a good 2 years because he had his second kid and he moved a little bit away, so we couldn't see each other or talk as much. And randomly, he came up in my mind when I was driving back from a solar meeting. I was like, who would be great is Jarrell. And so I called him, and he was like, you know what? Like, I actually think I got a good opportunity for you. So he came over, showed me everything he had built with his credit repair team, and how the dispute letter, everything, because we had a close relationship where he knew he could trust me and he could show me all that stuff. And from then on, I just partnered up with him and we just took off. And that's really how I got into it.
That's amazing. I hear that name quite often in your overviews and stuff, Darrell. It just quality people. I always talk about this, whether I'm on the podcast or when I'm speaking. Just the importance of just keeping quality people, like-minded people, to help you better yourself and grow. Because you started on this and you got the receipts that you're successful and is working. You could just tell the audience about like just keeping sticking with people, quality people.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things. People underestimate how valuable other people are in business. You can be the most talented person in the room, but if you don't have a good team behind you, you're not nearly as powerful and impactful as the person who's way less talented than you but has a wicked good team around them, because that team is gonna offset anything that you can't do. And the way that you do that is, you actually already said it, is you have to be around these people for long periods of time. You have to really establish the relationship with these people and show them that you also are a high quality, reliable person, because it takes two to tango. And if one is doing more than the other, that's always when, a relationship is going to end up not being sustainable. You have to, if, for instance, a lot of people will say, especially when they're looking for a personal relationship, right? Everybody wants a high value person. Well, when you get a high value person, you have to be a high value person as well. Otherwise, you guys are going to butt heads a lot. And that's how I would say you have to build that team of quality people around you. Is you have to be very objective. You have to be very unbiased and look like, how much is this person giving to me, and am I giving that amount, if not more, on a consistent basis. And that basis could take a long time. I was blessed that I was building my roots with someone who was going to take off the way he did. But he'll tell you, and anybody who knew us when we were young will tell you, is that I was somebody that from the beginning knew, oh wow, Jarrell's gonna be this big thing. Like I can already see it because of what he's doing. So I made sure to always provide as much value as I could to him at all times because I already knew how he was gonna be. So that's another thing is if you see the work ethic in somebody, right? If maybe the receipts, as you would say, maybe they're not quite there yet, but you see, kind of like when we first linked up, 2.5 or so years ago, I had pretty much like not just started entrepreneurship, but really started it the right way, like doing it the right way. And it can take time to get it going. So you got to know where you're at versus where the other person is at. If they've already got their thing going and you don't have it going, you can multitask and get your thing going while helping their thing grow more and more and
Right.
more, and it's going to help both people.
Definitely 100%. Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Jarrell. You've been hear your name for years, so yeah, definitely congratulations to Jarrell and you on your success. Just wanted
Yeah,
to put that
definitely.
out there. Yeah,
Definitely. Hardest worker I know for sure.
yes. Oh yeah, and then you talking about like getting started and just learning and failing forward. And my mentor Les Brown always said like anything that's worth doing is worth doing bad.
Hmm.
So okay, that's what separates the people who are successful and people who fail and think that's just is a permanent disability.
Couldn't
So,
agree
what
more.
is your thoughts on that?
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, that's probably was one of my biggest strong suits was I've always been willing to fail very hard and very fast. And it's not something I've learned. I've learned there's nature versus nurture. There's some things we're just born with and more naturally inclined to do. And that's something that I've always been more inclined to do because I have a lot of belief in myself. I know that if something goes wrong, that I have the ability to rebound and do what I need to do to make it right. And I also, on a higher level, I know that my intentions are to bring everybody up around me. I've read this book, this Buddhist, I don't know if you'd call it a scripture or what they call it, but it's called The Perfect Teachings from My Great Teacher, I think it's called, or My Perfect Teachings. And what it talked about was there's three different ways that people lead. There's the king's way, which is like they lead from the front. There's like the boat way where you bring everybody with you. Like if you were on an island and you were the boat, you bring everyone with you. And then there's the shepherd where they know that they're going to be good. So they're all the way in the back, making sure everybody else is in the front. And what's funny is that's actually how wolves operate too, is the one all the way in the back is the alpha, because they're making sure that everybody's moving up at the same pace. So that's really how I've decided to go about that. And when you do that, you have to be willing to fail first. You have to be or close to it, right? Yeah, like because you have to be the one to be able to tell everybody from the back. Because it's from the front. If you get hit from the front and you get hit too hard, it doesn't work. You have to have already walked that path, and then you got to come back down that path with everybody else. Because a lot of people will call themselves mentors, and it's really the first time that they're on the path, and it's like you can't do that because you don't know what's ahead of you. There might be a minefield ahead of you. And so as far as it's not just about failing, it's worth doing it bad, and that it's also doing it bad and then coming around and doing it again the right way, and
Right.
being able to say to somebody. And that's why I'm very confident when I tell somebody, like, yeah, if you invest into my business coaching, I'm promise you it's going to be worth at least tenfold, because I know the right way and the wrong way, because I've lost the money and made the money. So I'm not gonna tell you something that I haven't experienced. So you have to be willing, if you want to look at Elon Musk. If you want to be, a lot of people admire people at that level. I mean, the guy was willing to blow up 3 rockets, that, or
Yeah.
launch 3 rockets, whatever. What that Can you imagine? Like after the first one, most people are like, all right, I guess I can't do this. Second one, I think everyone's saying, and he still kept going. And it's the same thing with business. You have to be willing to keep launching those rockets. And you definitely want to do so efficiently, which is what I really do teach in my business coaching. Is I tell people all the time, you can learn the same lessons I learned and lose 1% of the money I lost, because I'm here to really drill in your head how profound some of these things are. It's easy. There's a lot of really simple things you can tell people, but until you experience it, that's when you really understand it. Like, I've lost a lot of money with the wrong people, and that's easy to guide somebody to not do the same thing, because once you've done it on your own, it's very clear how it happens. So I would say that when it comes to, if it's worth failing bad, if you really want something bad enough, you have to understand that, like, there's a great saying that pioneering doesn't pay. And I think that really it should say pioneering doesn't pay right now, because, like, what that's really what it means is, like, pioneering at that moment isn't gonna pay. But that's what I did with the LLCs, and I create, LLCs every single day because I did it the wrong way, learned how to do it the right way on my own experiences, and it went deeper and deeper and deeper into how LLCs work, how to file the right way, all that kind of stuff. So you got to really just understand that it's not, if you're one of those people who's like, all right, I'm doing this to make a bunch of money right now, I'm like, you're going to be very discouraged and you're going to quit. Now, if you understand that if you put in the sweat equity now, that pioneering can pay you for literally the rest of your life, like, you're good. But a lot of people, one of my best friends that I grew up with, who's also super successful, his name's Sam Warak. He told me, so I think he said, so many people overanalyze what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. And that's really a profound statement, is if you start looking at things in a bigger scale, as far as, 10 years versus what I'm going to do this year, you'll end up in a much better situation.
Right. Perfectly said. That's amazing. Yeah, and just speaking of that, your social media content, you post and you joke about it and stuff. It's funny, but at the same time, the reality is stuff about like clients wanting like a quarter billion dollar loan, but with like no credit and just want to get it started. And but it's all fun and jokes with social media, but also just the reality of some of your clients and what people are trying to do, trying to want the fast track to success, and just going by that, just I know it takes discipline, it takes patience, and that's what the road to success is. And just talk about that as well.
Yeah, I think discipline, patience, and then also, other people have said this, and a lot of cliches out there are only cliches until you start doing them, and then you realize, oh,
Yeah,
that's not a cliche, that's just real. Uh, you have to fall in love with the process, not the result. You
yeah,
can't and this goes for money and happiness. If you are always focused on being happy, you'll never be happy, because you're going for immediate short-term gratification, which is just never sustainable. It's never sustainable. Versus, like, let's look at my day today. I've been working since I woke up. I don't even remember what time I woke up. And I've just been on call after call after call after systems thing after this after that. My girlfriend's helping me. The whole team's working. Um, you have to fall in love with the day-to-day part. And I grew up in New England. I'm a New England Patriots diehard fan. Grew up with Tom Brady in his prime. And we fell in love with Tom Brady because of that, because Tom Brady
yeah,
showed up every single practice like it was the Super Bowl. And his results came from him just loving the process. Like, I love what he used to say. Like, tricked myself into loving waking up sore, because that's the only way to do it. And there's a guy out there who is super controversial, and there's a bunch of stuff he says that I don't agree with. But he has this other side to it where I'm like, I actually not only really agree with that, I think that's so well said. And his name's Andrew Tate. We all know who he is.
oh yeah,
But there's something he says where, as far as the happiness part, where if you if when you stop focusing on being happy in the present moment, and you start focusing on what you need to get done, and start becoming task oriented, and you do that for an extended period of time, you will look up and realize you're happy, and you will start realizing this. It's like a dopamine trigger, like, oh, like when I work really hard and do what I need to do, I feel really good, like, and sustainably good. It's not like a drug, or going to a, an amusement park, or going to a concert. Like, I just feel good everlastingly. And that ends up building on top of results. Like, oh, you know what? Like, it feels really good when, like, my girlfriend is working with me on my business, and when she wants to go do something on a random weekday, she can go do that because she helps me with my, like, business. And that feels really good that I can create that opportunity and pave that way. And then vice versa, it feels really good for her to help me on my business and help me do what I do and bring in more money. And that's a really, really important thing to understand, as far as losing yourself in the process. Like, stop. So many people, it's like I tell them, stop, get the money out of your eyes. That's what my stepdad says. He's great with personal development, and he says that all the time, get the money out of your eyes, because that's, the money is just a tool for what you really want. So when you're focused on the money, the universe, like, doesn't even know what to give you, because they're like,
Right.
that, no, the money, I will give you the money if you tell me what you want. And they're like, and you keep coming back to the universe, like, but I want money. And they're like, no, you don't get it. That's not how it works. And so, for instance, like, I told you, like, I'm moving to Thailand at the end of August, and I want to do that. There's no coincidence that when I really set my intention to want to do that, the more money I needed to do it flooded in. It's never a
Yes.
coincidence that I set my intention, and I created a burning desire, which all comes from Think and Grow Rich, which is one of the best books out there.
Right.
Um, Setting that burning desire of, like, no, like, I see it in my head. I want to move to Thailand. I want to pay for my dogs to get over there, and the dogs are more expensive than us, which I won't even get into. But I
Right.
want to be able to bring everybody, go over there, get a 3 bedroom, have a house, da da da, rent a car, all that. I'm instilling that in my head. And then the part that people get lost on is, now you have to show up every single day and show the universe, like, no, I'm dead serious. Like, I'm here digging the holes before the rain comes. And so many people think that you got to wait for the rain and then start digging the holes. You can't do that. I was building the CRM for the cabinet guy I'm using now literally a year ago. And I knew that I'm building it now because I'm going to have all these clients coming in. I'm going to have to organize it. And that's the process. That's the process of building the systems, doing it yourself, learning how to do it if you don't know how to do it. And then all of a sudden, guess what? You're going to check your bank account and be like, oh, actually, that's pretty sweet. You can,
Right. Yes.
and then you after, guess what? You check that bank account and then you put it down, like, right back to da 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 da
Mhm.
da 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 da. And then one day, I think I tell everybody, set a goal where you want to stop being in that mentality. And I always told myself, when I turn 35, I want it to be like, if I'm clocked in, it's because it's my choice. Right now, I treat it like I'm like everyone else. I don't have a choice. Even though I work for myself, I work for myself, and I'm a tough boss. So, like, if I don't clock in, like, I'm gonna make my own life hell. And you have to treat your own businesses like that, because so many people, when they leave their 9 to 5, or they want to leave their 9 to 5, because they're like, I just want, my 9 to 5 is so hard. I'm like, well, then don't go into entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship is way harder, because you have to now compete with
Yeah.
people like me who don't take a day off. Like, you're now in player versus player. When you're in a 9 to 5, it's player versus everyone, right? You're playing against the system. You're
Yes.
all working together and doing, it's a common goal. Entrepreneurship, unless you're paying to be in a community like we offer, like, like I offer, me and my team offer, which is why people get crazy results, right? And that's the cheat code. But for the people who don't do that, which is most people, you're competing against people like me, and guess what? I'm not the top of the food chain at all. So, you better know, like, who you're stepping in the ring with, because if you don't get the results, it's just like people who post on TikTok or social media and they're like, oh, I'm not getting the views because the algorithm sucks. No, it's because your content sucks. And that's the same thing with, and that's not, doesn't mean you as a person sucks. It just means the content you're putting out right now sucks. So this is
Yeah.
all, once again, me trying to get people lost in the process just by hearing this. Like, this is the day-to-day things, and then next thing you know, you check your bank account and you can go do whatever you want. Like, that's, to me, yes, discipline is important, that's all important, but I think what Andrew Tate kind of says too is like discipline is, you got to dissect discipline. Like discipline is an umbrella term for a lot of different things going on. And sometimes people, when they just go by, and this is the part of Andrew Tate I don't like, where sometimes people think discipline is almost like this aggressive thing. And it's like, it's not at all. It's almost like a really good basketball player, like when they're just smooth as silk, when like you're just dealing with, there's three defenders on you, but you're dribbling through all of them, like smooth, and you have to be calm, and you have to be composed, and you have to be willing to juggle multiple different things. If you're coming into it with this like, aggressive nature, it's just not good. You're probably going to get burnt out, because that's hard to stay in that kind of state and deal
Right.
with a bunch of different problems. So getting lost in the process, but getting lost in the process in like more of a Zen kind of, things are coming to me, I'm not coming to them, but I'm dealing with them as they come, is really what discipline is. It's not this like aggressive thing.
Right. Yeah. Just straight to the point, just from day one. Yeah. And then speaking of the competition and stuff, because I won't really call it a tough question, but it's a question that it's a question. So, what separates your company, your credit repair company, from the rest of them? I'm starting to see more and more now. I remember just maybe seeing like maybe like only a couple of them. Yours is one, but there's somebody I won't say his name on here, but somebody I was in business network marketing with is he works with a network marketing company for credit repair. Don't know much about it. I just see it on social media. But like, what separates you from like the rest of them?
So I think the biggest thing that separates us is how long our team has been doing it and how many clients we've actually processed, because we have a franchise community of over 100 active franchises that all send credit repair clients to our backend team. So we have literally had a backend team for 5 years now, and they have literally processed thousands of clients. We're trying to figure out if maybe they've gotten to 10,000. We don't know. Like there have been so many clients flooded through our systems, and we have so many different results, and we have all, and the other thing that separates us, to be quite honest, is the executive team. We genuinely care about people, and I'm telling you what, most credit repair companies, funding companies, all that kind of stuff don't care about people. They're looking at you as a paycheck, and they're looking at you as a
Right.
possible liquidation, and we don't do that. We want you to not only get your credit fixed, but hey, you know how you're buying credit repair right now? Well, how about we get you a franchise and get you in the community, and you can make money off selling for credit repair to everybody else. And we're super transparent about it. If you guys are making more money, we're all making more money. It's a win-win. So
Right.
we're not just here to, guess what, charge you $2,000 to get your credit fixed and then charge you another $5,000 to give you business funding. No, we're going to make it so you can come in, you can pay to play, and the pay to play is so worth it because of the broker services we're going to give you. And I'm talking about not just credit repair franchises that we have. They have access to selling our credit repair, our business funding, our LLC creation, our website creation, our CRM systems, our hotel passes. The list goes on and on and on. And the people pay in to get a discounted broker price on those services to upsell to other people. And the reason we're so different is because we don't, it's a community. We're the only, have not found another credit repair company, funding company. And if I'm going to be real, there's only like, I could easily count on my hand in general companies like us that have a community like us, because we have been through thick and thin. We've been around for 2.5 years. We have had so many snakes in the grass that we finally got them all out. But that's part of a successful startup. A successful startup, you're going to have a lot of snakes in the grass because there's a lot of money going around and not a lot of structure. So it's easier for the snakes to come in. But we got them all out, and things ever since then have been incredible. So we've proven that we're going to be successful at our best, at our worst, and now that we've gotten past that initial growing phase, it's just up from here. So we really care. We have a much longer track history than most people, and we service all of our franchises. We're not just servicing ourselves. So I think that's what makes the biggest difference with us.
Yeah, and then also, did you say also say like businesses can also franchise as well?
Yep. So
Oh,
anybody can franchise. We just had somebody 3 days ago come in. She owns a talent agency. Shout out Shafante. She has a talent
yeah,
agency, an entertainment agency, and another successful business in Atlanta. And she's been helping people get like get their credit right and funding forever just for free because she's just all been that person. She was in finance and stuff at an early age, and she paid in just 3 days ago into our franchise program. This is a wicked successful business owner who wants to just leverage our systems because what so many people, this is
mm,
what a lot of people do. Oh, well, I can just go do the credit myself. Yeah, so can I. But if you want to trade your time for money and lose your mind processing all of your clients or trying to train a back end team on your own how to do it, you're going to quickly realize that the opportunity we're giving you for what we're asking to pay for the franchise is very worth it. So
yeah,
she's coming in, and guess what? In the first 48 hours, she already got one sale and made like 400 bucks back. And she used a SEMA, which is an $80 down program to get the franchise. And then if you pay the balance off within 90 days, it's no interest. We really like, and it really comes down, I have to give credit. Jarrell never stops finding new ways to win.
right.
Never, never, ever, 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 ever. And that becomes contagious so that all of us execs are just like that, where we're looking for a better way to do it. Because in business, if you're not growing, you're dying. And that's really real. And I think that's what is really making a huge difference for us.
All right, yeah, keep you on your toes. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Always.
What are your favorite quotes? Yeah, yeah. Or
Uh,
do you
that's
have
a
any?
I think my favorite one was from a young age was always for every dark night there's a brighter day. I think that's a very important thing to remember. I've like as up as you want to be, like life usually will make you be equally down. There's a great and my other favorite quote is as above, so below, the Hermetic principle. It's very true on a lot of levels that it applies to a lot of different aspects of life. So those two are definitely um probably the two that I go to, but I guess quote wise, I guess it's more for me like concepts that are more impactful and stuff like that. I think maybe like quotes I think are great, but concepts are usually more how my mind works.
Yeah, that's what's up. The keys to success. Do you have any tips to the audience for like the keys to your success?
Oh yeah. Actually, my other favorite quote is if your attitude is right, the facts don't matter. And
Yeah,
that's probably one of my biggest keys to success is we are so conditioned to look at things in a negative way when
right.
you can really, I know it is so easy to be convinced that everything, especially right now, is pinned against everyone, but it's so not. The people right now who are choosing to see the good and the opportunities versus the problems and the pitfalls are killing it right now because there is so much opportunity to make money. And I know that sounds cliche and like that I'm trying to sell something, but it's true. I wouldn't be saying it if the whole community wasn't doing it. So
Right.
that is like the biggest key to success is like if you wake up and you're in a 9 to 5 that you don't want to be in, and let's say you have a kid you're taking care of, and you wake up and you're like, oh, like I gotta go to my job, I gotta get my kid to school, like this sucks. I have been in countries where people can't even like having an AC is unheard of. You have to
Right.
start putting things into perspective. Like your problems are somebody's literally a dream they're never gonna have. Like a real problem is waking up in like a lithium mine and being like, oh my God, they're gonna chop our heads off today. Like, what are we gonna do? Like that's a real problem. And a lot of the times, especially in America, and I've been blessed that my mom's side is from Mexico, my grandmama is, and I have a lot of family over there. So I've gotten to spend extended periods of times in parts of Mexico where it's just like you just have a much better perspective of like what we have. Like the fact that you should wake up and be like, yes, like I have a job That makes it, do I make as much as I want? No. Do I get to go to the exact places I want to go? No. But my worst problem is that I have to wake up earlier than I want to, and that I have to take my child to a public system that takes care of them for 8 to 9 hours. Do they teach them the way I want to? No. Do I believe in everything that they're teaching? No. But
Right.
this is my best case scenario. And here's the other thing. You got to ask yourself, have I really been doing my best? Or did I put myself in this position? 100% of the time, we always have put ourselves in that position. We get what we want all the time. We have not been trained how to use our brain the right way to really tell our brain what
Right.
we want. And when you're influenced by the five people around you, you're going to be the sixth. That's very true. So if you're around a bunch of people, even if they're joking and sarcastic all the time about how negative things, that's going to be in your subconscious all the time. and
Right.
and I guarantee when you decide all of a sudden to try and start being more positive, doing your thing, upgrade, up level, or level up, those are going to be the first people who make fun of you, because you're going to find out that they weren't really joking, that they really believe that's what their life's like. And you have to be the one that, and another thing, this is actually a quote that I've made up, is like, if you're going to be the one in a million, you can't be confused when you don't relate with the other 999 and 99. You can't. Like,
Right.
if you're the one in a million, guess what? The other 999 and 99, they're all negative usually. And so you have to be the one who's positive. Like, I think Kevin Trudeau, his playlist, Your Wish Is Your Command, the 13 1 hour tracks he had, like, that changed my life, because he talks about this so well, and he's a billionaire, and he's been through crazy, like, they put him in prison for 10 years because he was exposing a lot of really amazing medical secrets that were true,
Right.
and they got him on a lot of baloney, basically. So he's been as up as you pretty much can be, going to prison and coming out and being back on top of the world. And he has this amazing way of teaching and wording. Like, you have this big black or gray or whatever color, of negative energy that you don't even realize you're carrying around. So when people start learning about personal development and manifesting, they think, like, when they think about it and don't get it, like, they're like, oh, manifesting doesn't work. And what they realize is they haven't transmuted or addressed this big ball of negative energy, and you got to transmute it into positive energy. And then
Right.
all of a sudden you'll start getting the front parking spot every time you think about it. The things will
Exactly.
start going your way. But if you don't address that big ball of negative energy first, that's why so many people get discouraged and think, like, oh, manifesting doesn't work and thought process doesn't work. Don't get me wrong, you can't just sit in a room and just, and think like $1 million are going to drop in your lap. It doesn't work, unless you're really good at meditating.
Right. Yeah.
Like, most night the majority of us, that's not going to happen. So you have to have the thought and do the action, but it's still the same point.
Yes. Oh, yes. And also, like with reading books as well. This is another guy who mentored me as well. He's also on TikTok. Name is Troy Chadwick. I think I told you about him. He also been mentored by Bob Proctor, and
Yeah,
he talks about not just reading books, but he said don't even read the book. Just but yeah, read the book if that makes sense. Just learn from the book and apply it. So I mean, just don't read the book and just what you read, apply it with it and take action from the books that you want to learn from.
absolutely. I
Yes.
mean, I've gotten more out of the first four chapters of books than most people get out of reading the whole thing, because I reread the first four chapters 10 times and I'm taking notes on them and then I'm applying them. I preach that to people all the time. People are like, "Oh, have you finished? How many times have you read Think and Grow Rich?" I'm like, "I'm still on chapter 5." I was like, but I've read, I don't even know how many times I've read chapters 1 through 4, and that's what I think he's probably talking about as far as applying it. If you're not rereading that's repetition, right? You're
Yeah.
conditioning your mind, you're building that neural pathway, and that's the cheat code to anything. If you're in the worst place in the world and everything isn't working for you as far as certain personal development things, start just doing what do they call it in Think and Grow Rich? It's basically
Paradigm
just
shift.
repetition. What was it?
Paradigm shift.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
paradigm shift of repeating the
Yeah.
same thing over and over and over to yourself, listening to the same thing over and over, reading the same thing over and over again. It's conditioning your neural pathways to
Right.
change how they're thinking, and it really works. And it can take a whole 6 months of waking up every day. And this is what I do with people in my mentorship, gratitude journaling every single day, waking up and immediately doing that. I'm not telling you to do this because it's this like trendy thing to do. I'm doing it because scientifically you are taking that big ball of negative energy and making it smaller.
Yes, for sure.
Mhm.
So yeah, before we get you out of here, I'd always like to ask our guests if you have any morning routines. What are they? If you have any morning routines.
So I fluctuate between my morning routines. So right now, so I'm big with what Jim Rohn says, where there's a spring, summer, fall, and winter. So depending on what season it is, depends on my morning routine. Right now it's summer. So the morning routine is wake up and get to work. Actually, that's not true. That's not true. I just caught myself. You know what I do? I wake up, I always take a shower, and I do my chakra meditations in the shower. And anybody who I'm a Reiki practitioner, I've done Reiki probably since like 2018. So, a big thing that a lot of people don't understand is like when like, I say energy is real, I really mean it. And so I align my chakras in a certain way. And I do that. That is actually my morning routine, but that's in summer mode. Where it's like, bang this out and it's time to go to work. It's time to harvest the crops. We don't have
Mhm.
time to do like the full on,
Yeah,
the whole ensemble. It can't happen. But when I'm in fall and especially winter mode, my morning routine can be 4 to 5 hours long, and I really mean that. Where I mean, when I was more in New Hampshire, or when I'm in New Hampshire more, and it's the winter, as far not, and people get confused. I don't mean literally winter, because sometimes your life and business winter can come in the summer. You just never know. Um,
yeah,
but like I'll literally be, I'll wake up and I'll go work out for like an hour and a half, then sit in the sauna for 30 minutes, sit in the hot tub for 30 minutes, sit in the pool for 30 minutes, and I'm just being in the moment, just being, versus task oriented. And that's the big difference. When I'm in task oriented mode, it's like, all right, get the chakras aligned, we're good. All right, time to go. Versus more fall and winter is like just being present and seeing what's coming to my mind and all that stuff. And then my other morning routines after I go to the gym and in the sauna and all that stuff would be doing as deep of a meditation as I possibly can do that day, and just really focusing on my chakra alignment. And then also, a lot of people, it's a deep concept because I've been meditating for a long time, but you end up basically astral projecting to certain chakras and just getting lost in that. A lot of people lose their imagination from when they're a kid, and that's sad because your imagination is
right.
a very real thing. It's not this
Mhm.
imagination and imaginary are two very different things. And your imagination
Yeah,
is literally like the blueprint that your brain puts out. And so when you let yourself get lost in your own, not thoughts, but your own mind, you start really being able to understand that you are really made up of a lot of different aspects of you, and all of those different aspects of you can communicate with each other if you really take a step back and let yourself get lost in your own mind. And I was blessed that I did that when I was younger in my life, and that I probably grew up around people that made it so I was open-minded to that kind of lifestyle. But I'm telling you, if anybody watches this call and if they've been stuck, if you start waking up and sitting and meditating, and I'm talking about, crisscross applesauce with your arm, and start
yeah,
reading about chakras, Buddhism in general, it's going to change your life. If you really commit to it. And I got to the point where I was meditating for an entire hour straight, sitting there, which can feel like forever. And you can wake up and be like, I can't believe that was just an hour. But if you've never done it before, you'll sit there for 5 minutes and be like, how the heck did he sit there for an hour? There's no way. So if you start with the 5 minutes and incrementally go up, you gotta just lose yourself in once again, lose yourself in the process, take away all biases, all, if you've been taught your whole life that like, oh, this isn't real, or da 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 da, you got to let that go, and you got to just go by what you feel. So I would really recommend that for morning routines, and look into your chakra systems, and look into Buddhism texts. And the universe, if you put out the intention that you want to learn this kind of stuff, the universe will give you what you need to learn it, for sure.
oh yeah, for sure. Yes, yeah. Thank you for hitting all them points. Yeah.
course.
So before we get out of here, I'll give you the floor if you want to say anything else, and you definitely promote your products and everything that you do for sure. And
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, basically, if anybody's interested, I do business coaching. We have a community of over 100 active members when it comes to the franchise program. We give you all of the different services that we've sold a bajillion times at a very low price so that you can upsell it to other people. We give you one-on-one calls so that you know exactly how to do it. We even will close your clients for you. We have a bunch of different leasing, financing options. We offer, like I said, anything from credit repair, business funding, website creation for websites for businesses, LLC creation to get people started the right way, S corp creation. We do people's taxes. We're partnered with with probably the best tax firm out there is. We even have a lot of travel, different promotions as far as hotel passes where you can get discounts on hotels, even flight discounts. Once again, Jarrell, who's the top of the pyramid, he never stops finding new ways for people to
Terrell.
win. Jarrell, and he will never stop being like that. So that's why we have so many different ways for people to win. And we've had now so many people go from $0 of revenue to consistently having $10,000 months that it blows my mind. And you know, a lot of these, and to be quite transparent too, before we had a lot of people when we had the snakes in the grass, they made so much money that they took our blueprint and did the same thing and just put their name on it. So it really works almost
Yeah.
too well sometimes. And that's what I would tell people. If you've ever been thinking about it, especially right now, guys, like a lot of people are stuck in 9 to 5s that they don't make enough money that they feel like they can do what they can do. You can have a 9 to 5 and build your business, right? Rich Dad Poor Dad talks about this. He talks about minding your
Yes.
business, and
Mind you,
you can so do that. And we are so good at making it work for anyone. And so if you're in a 9 to 5, don't feel like you can't do this. That like I started doing it when I was in a 9 to 5. And we have so many, most of the people in our community are too. You know, not all of us. It took me a while to get to full-time entrepreneurship. And even and I'll be real, even with my full-time entrepreneurship, I still got to do what I got to do. Like I'm on contracts with Jarrell. I'm on contracts with my stepdad for the cabinet guy. If I don't do what I got to do, I'm not going to get paid. So, you know, it's
yeah.
not like you ever get to this point where you think Elon Musk is waking up doing nothing. You're crazy. You know, if you're going to be in entrepreneurship, unless one day you want to totally give the business off to somebody else, you're going to be busy. So I would say like if you've ever even thought about it, book a call with me. We'll set something up and we'll just talk, and we have people joining the community every other day because it just makes too much sense for people to join it. But and even beyond the money you're going to make, the bigger thing is the mindset shift you're going to have. That's the bigger thing. You're getting a personal development mentorship with a business mentorship all in one on a community level. So I think that's really great. And then on just like another topic, I think a lot of people, you know, I've been seeing this. A lot of people, I know the world is trying to give you as many reasons to make an excuse right now not to give your best, but I'm telling you, this is the best time to give your best because so many people right now are asleep at the wheel, and us who are not are killing it. So stop making excuses. Try to right now compartmentalize. Your emotions can be there, but you know what? Maybe put them to the side for a little bit and start just doing the things that are going to put you in a better position. Like I said, if you lose yourself in the process and then look up and check your bank account or look up and check your lifestyle, and that's when you're going to feel happier. I see so many people these days trick themselves into thinking that they don't have control over the situation when we have 110% control over a situation. So definitely don't hesitate to reach out.
Yes, that's right. Like Jerome Rohn also said it too. Work full time on your job while you're working part time on your fortune.
Exactly.
I
And
hope
it's
I
a
said
day
it
at a
right.
time. It's a day at a time.
Definitely. Yeah. So, hey, thank you so much for your time. I know your schedule is very busy, so thank you for taking time out your day and coming on and talking to us and sharing information, this valuable information that people will probably pay you $10,000 for a session.
I mean, that's why I thank you for having me. I genuinely believe, I'm 29, I'll be 30 in December. And, we talked about this a while ago, but I'm someone who truly believes like I do things for free all the time still because I genuinely know where I'm going to be at in life. And that's part of the people who really get there, do it for free. Can you imagine being at one of Jim Rohn's first speeches when he did it for free? And he did a good amount for
Right.
free in the beginning. So, that's how I want to be. It's bigger. Once again, I follow my own advice as best as I can. It's not about the money. I'm looking forward to the day when I can talk to 500 people at the same time, and give them the value, whether I make $500 from that or 5,000 or 50,000. I don't, it doesn't matter.
Right. Yes, for sure. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Issac Del Zoppo. Yeah, go ahead and follow him. You can follow him on TikTok, Instagram, which I will post in the link, and definitely follow him on his website. Well, also I'll post it on the calendar as well. Yeah, thank you again for coming on.
Thank you so much.